Good morning, students. Here today we will be dealing with the first lesson in the Standard 10 English textbook. The story written by Ruskin Bond, Adventures in a Banyan Tree. In this whole video, we will come across the summary of the story. We will know about the writer, the author, and we will see which are the major events in the story. Let's see in detail. Ruskin Bond, as all of you know, is an Indian writer in English. He is considered as an icon among the Indian English writers. He has written many stories and novels for which he received many awards too. He was awarded the Sahitya Akademi Award, Indian National Academy of Letters in India, again he was awarded the Padma Shri in 1999 for children's literature. You can have a glimpse of his biodata profile. You can read it, pausing the video, which will be helpful for you to write a profile of a person. The question that usually occurs or come for the examination. Here is a very short synopsis of the story, in which, as I told earlier, the story is about a boy who spends his leisure time in the banyan tree. From the top of the banyan, sitting on the top of the banyan tree, the boy could see the serene beauty of nature and things that go around and near the house. Life in the banyan tree, views from the tree, fight between the cobra and the mongoose, friendship between the grey squirrel and the white rat are some of the main events in the story. Let's have a quick look at the summary of the story. You have learned the story while viewing the online classes in Victor's channel. Now we'll have a very short summary of the story. The story is about the boy who loved to sit in the banyan tree. That old banyan tree was in his grandfather's house. And the boy says that, or claims that, this old magnificent banyan tree now belongs to him, because his grandfather could not climb that tree any longer, because he is 65. And about the age of the tree, the boy says the tree was older than the house. It was older than the grandfather, and it was again much older than the Dehradun city. Among the branches of the tree there lived so many small squirrels, snails, butterflies, birds, etc. etc. The boy had a great grey squirrel as his friend. Towards the beginning we could see the boy is trying to get in friendship with a grey squirrel. At first the squirrel kept away from the boy, because the squirrel thought that the boy was an intruder into his privacy. But later, the squirrel became friendly with the boy and he began to take food particles, morsels, from the boy's hand. Pieces of cake, biscuit, etc. And it was a very young squirrel, so that his friends and relatives might have thought his foolishness to be in acquaintance or in friendship with a human being, for trusting a human being. So it's something philosophical that the author says it's not good for a squirrel to be in company with a human being. In springtime, there will be a lot of small red figs in the banyan tree, and birds of all kinds would flock in the branches. The red-bottomed bulbul, cheerful and greedy parrots, myna, crows, etc. And during that fig season, this banyan tree and its surroundings will be the most noisy place in the garden. It will be the noisiest place in the garden, or the most noisy place in the garden. Halfway up the tree, the boy also made a platform, built a crude platform where he could sit there and look at the scene's beauty below. He could read books. He propped up cushion against the tree, and leaning to it, he could read books. At times he would look down through the leaves. From sitting there, he could see the place below. He would look at the world below. And one afternoon, he had a wonderful or a strange sight, that he happened to see a fight between a mongoose and a cobra. The boy saw the whole incident. He witnessed the whole incident. What was that incident? It's one of the major incidents or events in the story. The boy saw a huge black cobra coming out of a clump of cactus, and at the same time he saw a mongoose emerging out from the bushes, and the mongoose went straight to the cobra. It went straight for the cobra, to attack. The cobra knew that the grey mongoose was a super fighter, clever and aggressive. The cobra also was a good fighter, experienced fighter. So two good fighters meeting each other. Imagine what will happen. He moved swiftly and struck with the speed of light, and the sacs behind his long sharp fangs were full of deadly poison. See, the cobra stores the poison in sacs, which is fixed behind the long sharp fangs. So whenever the cobra attacks a person or another animal, this poison comes out and causes death to that enemy. So here we see the battle of champions. The mongoose bushed his tail, and see, when it raised its tail and hair, long hair stood up, raised up. Suddenly there arrived a myna and a jungle crow. They settled on the cactus to watch the outcome of the fight. The cobra stood swaying slowly from side to side, trying to mesmerize the mongoose into making a false move, moving side to side, so that the mongoose will think that cobra will come from this side or the other side. The mongoose will be in a confusion, to make it confused. But the mongoose knew the power of his opponent, so he fixed his gaze at a point just below the cobra's hood and opened attack. Moving forward quickly until he was just within the cobra's reach, the mongoose made a pretended move to one side. It made a false move to one side, and immediately the cobra struck. What will happen? The cobra's struck will not fall upon the mongoose. His great hood came down so swiftly that he thought nothing could save the mongoose. But what happened? The little fellow jumped neatly to one side and darted in as swiftly as the cobra, biting on the back, jumped onto its back and darting away again. So the cobra struck this mongoose. The mongoose slipped or moved to a side, jumped to a side, and very quickly it darted on the back of the cobra, biting there, and again it darted away out of reach, jumped to a distance. A few drops of blood glistened on the cobra's back because the mongoose had bitten there. Again the cobra struck. Again it missed. The mongoose sprang again aside, jumped in and bit on the back of the cobra. Again, see, all these incidents, all these tricks or all these happenings were witnessed by the myna as well as the jungle crow. In the third round, the myna and the crow once again dived at the cobra. It struck with great force. The myna escaped, but the crow, what happened? It flung nearly 20 feet across the garden. So the struck of the cobra was affected, or it fell upon the crow, and it flew, or it was flung 20 feet across the garden, and it fell dead. The cobra was weakening, and the mongoose, walking fiercely up to it, raised himself in short legs like in a standing position, and with a lightning snap had the big snake by the snout, caught on its back. The mongoose caught the cobra on its back and held it on the mouth until the snake ceased to struggle. So it bit the snake, hold it tightly without letting the cobra move its head, and it held it on the mouth for a long time, for some time, until the snake had ceased to struggle. And he smelt along with its quivering length, gripped around the hood, and it dragged into the bushes. So that was a major incident that the boy happened to see sitting in the banyan tree. The boy made a cautious descent. Boy came down from the tree and went back to the house. He told of the fight to his grandfather, and grandfather was pleased that the mongoose had. So the grandfather wanted to know whether the mongoose or the cobra had won. He was happy hearing that the mongoose was the winner. He had encouraged it to live in the garden because it keeps away snakes. So in order to keep away snakes, it is better to encourage the mongooses to be in the garden. One day, we'll be moving to another incident. One day on the banyan tree, he saw what he called the strange case of a grey squirrel and a white rat. A strange case. What was the strange case? See, the white rat belonged to grandfather. Grandfather had bought it from the bazaar for 4 annas, and this white squirrel had a friendship with one of the squirrels, grey squirrel. And very often or occasionally, both of them would go up the tree among the branches for little excursions. Then the squirrel started building a nest. And when the squirrel started building a nest for him or for her, so many things were missing from the house. One day the grandmother's knitting was missing. And the next day, when the boy climbed up the tree and looked at the nest of the squirrel, he happened to see something glinting in that hole. And on investigation, he saw that it was the grandmother's steel knitting needle. So that squirrel might have taken it and kept it in that hole in order to make its nest. On looking further, he discovered that the hole was crammed with knitting. So that knitting was also kept there. There were 3 baby squirrels in the nest, all of them white. Grandfather told the boy that the white rat must be the father. See, the grey squirrel had white children. So that the grandfather guessed that the white rat might be the father of that baby squirrels. Rats and squirrels were related to each other, and they would have white squirrels as offsprings. So this is the summary of the story. You could pause it in between and read it aloud so that it will be in your memory. See, now let's have a look at the events in the story. You can keep these events in mind, which will be helpful for you to write the discourses, attempt the discourses that may come for the examination. And it will be very easy for you to remember these points instead of remembering the whole story. The old banyan tree was a friend of the boy, even though it was older than the grandfather. The tree gave the boy happiness, and he spends most of his time in it. A small grey squirrel becomes his friend and takes food from his hands. In spring, when there are figs on the tree, birds flutter on its branches. The boy builds a platform on the tree with a cushion to read books. He looks down to see the beauty of the earth beneath. One afternoon, he watches a fight between a cobra and a mongoose. The mongoose is a clever and aggressive fighter. The cobra is also skillful and experienced. The mongoose moves and attacks the cobra. The cobra strikes the mongoose, but it suddenly jumps to the back of its head and attacks it. The crow and the myna intervene, and the crow is killed by the cobra. Mongoose attacks and kills the cobra. The mongoose drags the cobra to the grandfather is happy to know that the mongoose is the winner. The boy sees a new incident. A white rat and a grey squirrel develop a friendship. The knitting of the grandmother was missing. Later, the boy found the knitting and the needle on the hole in the tree. The boy also discovers 3 white baby squirrels in the hole. Grandfather says that the white rat is the father of the white baby squirrels. Considering the slow learners, I have given a Malayalam version of the summary, which I will not be reading. I will be going from slide to slide, which you can pause the video and read it by yourself. This is something that is meant for slow learners. You can pause the video, read it, and move to the next part. Here also you can read it. This is a Malayalam version of the summary. You can read it. Hope you have finished reading the Malayalam summary. We will end this first introductory video here, and I will be coming with another video in which we will discuss the discourses that may appear for the examination. Thank you.